Alright, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Each Adventure channel. My name is Josh, and today we're going to be having a good old time out here on the DRZ. We got snow, we got water, we got mud, all the things that make for a good ride. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the DRZ a little bit and talking about some of the things I really like about it. For as much hate as the DRZ gets amongst the interwebs, it really is a fantastic bike. Some people really like it, some people don't, and there's various reasons for liking or disliking it, and I'll kind of cover my reasons of why I love this bike. And so yeah, I made a similar video a while back about 5 things that I really didn't care for too much, so you can check that video out. I'll link it up in the card up here somewhere. So let's start with number 1. Number 1 is going to be the versatility. This kind of comes along with most dual sport bikes, but the DRZ, there's very few bikes I think that really have the versatility and capability of the DRZ. Woo! See, you can go through water crossings with the DRZ. That's cool. Yeah, so what do I mean by that, though? So the DRZ is one of the very few bikes where you can ride it from your garage, ride it on the freeway, ride it up into the mountains like this, and then once you're up here, hit some relatively technical trails and have it perform well in all of those scenarios, and even in the stock configuration. So I'm running the stock gearing right now. Stock gearing is actually way better for the highway, you know, and if I wanted to, when I get up into the trail system up here, aside from like the black diamond stuff, because I got 50/50 tires and taller gearing, you know, if I had lower gearing or a little bit better tires, or if I just wasn't such a chicken, you know, I could ride that stuff just fine, and I would be totally fine. You know, the weight is manageable. It's, you know, it is a fairly heavy bike, but you know, it's manageable for all of those scenarios that I'm referring to. And there's not a lot of bikes that you can say can do that same thing. There are a few, and realistically, I mean, any bike, you can kind of just make it do whatever you want. But I'm going to compare this to my CRF 250L that I owned, and I'll even compare it to the Beta. The 250L actually, I feel, has better highway characteristics than this bike does. But the 250L, without suspension modifications and without like really low gearing, like really just modifying the gearing to get lower grunt out of it, it's not a super great bike for like technical trail riding. It's a great bike, you know, but when things get a little bit more technical and slower, it's not, you know, it's not the best bike. It cannot match the DRZ in that area. And I will say the exact opposite of the Beta. The Beta, it has the power definitely for the highway, but if it's geared low for technical riding, A, it's buzzy, it's really buzzy on the freeway, and B, it's just not fun on the highway. It's so light that, you know, it'll do it. It has the power. I've done it, but I'm way more comfortable riding this on the highway than I am the Beta, like hands down. So yeah, so number 1, versatility. Number 2, I kind of touched on this a little bit, but suspension. So the DRZ is one of the very few dual sports, and I'm talking the Japanese dual sports. I'm not counting the Euro bikes, the Betas, you know, the more enduro-y $10,000 plus bikes. I'm talking about your average Joe, everyday dual sports. I have not been in this way in a long time, so I really actually don't know where I'm going. But yeah, it's one of the very few. It was between the DRZ and the WR250R, and the WR250R doesn't exist anymore, so it's basically the DRZ. The DRZ is kind of like in a category of its own, because it's one of the very few, like I said, very few dual sport bikes that actually has like really good suspension out of the box. This suspension's been revalved. I don't think Colin restringed. I don't think Colin respringed it, but I know he did the valves. I mean, realistically, like the suspension's just fine. It's adjustable on both the front and the rear, so you can see the adjustments right here. if you can see that. And then the same thing on the rear, you have adjustments in the rear too. And it's been fine. Like I can't recall a time where I've ever bottomed it out. And I've jumped this, like I've ridden it pretty hard. And I can't recall a time where I've ever bottomed the suspension out, which says a lot for such a heavy bike. So, and I usually have it weighed down with a bunch of stuff. Yeah, so that's number 2 is suspension. Number 3 is going to have to be the power. All this stuff kind of plays into versatility, but I meant, when I talked about versatility, I just meant being able to kind of go anywhere and ride anything. And these other smaller pieces play into that, but the power, it's something you gotta get used to. It's a very revvy motor, so it makes more of its power in the upper RPMs. It does have a pretty good first gear for tractoring, but you can see, like, you see how it doesn't have like that chug. Like if you're used to riding like a KTM or like even my Beta, like the 390, it's like a go 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 go. And this, you can tell it's just smooth. It's like a really smooth revving motor, and it's a lot of fun to play with, like in the upper RPMs. Other dual sports, like the WR250R or the CRF250L, the engine feels more street bike-ish. The CRF has the same type of engine where, you know, it's very revvy. This one, you have that instant like dirt bikey throttle response. And it's awesome, man. I've heard it'll get even better if you have like the pumper carb on it, which is the carb that I believe the E model comes with. Just a little bit of this SoCal traffic. Mine does have the 3x3 airbox mod done on it, so it's a little bit snappier than a stock DRZ. But overall, I mean, the power is great. The power delivery is great. Depending on how you have it geared, you can make it a little bit more or less of that. So, for example, like this is the stock gearing, and this is much better, like I said, on like for highway riding. But it's still perfect for like this type of dual sport riding. When things start getting more technical, a lot of people either swap the gears for the E-gearing, which is a 14-tooth sprocket up front, and then a 47-tooth sprocket in the rear. So this stock gearing is a 15 in the front and a 44 in the rear. And then there is a compromise gearing, which you can go either way. You can either go up 2 teeth in the rear, which will help out with your revs. So that way you don't put as much strain on the engine with the smaller front sprocket. Or you can drop the front sprocket 1 tooth, so you can kind of go like an in-between gearing. And that's actually how I had it when I first got it, and that's probably what I'll go back to. I might play with the E-gearing though, just to see how it is. But I usually ride this bike like from my house, and I don't know if I want to give up all of that capability, because man, it was nice just being able to leave my house this morning and just ride up here and not have to trailer or any of that stuff. Oh, I hadn't seen this bridge since they built it. This is cool. This used to be another water crossing right here. So number 4, a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this one, but the 4th thing I like about the DRZ400 is the weight. I actually said the same thing about my Honda CRF250L, but the weight on the DRZ, it's one of the things that both helps it and hinders it, because off-road, it just makes it heavy and you know, just kind of a handful, right? But as a dual sport, and being on the road and on the highway, that weight helps out with the stability of this bike so much. Like I said, like I've ridden the Beta on the highway. It's got plenty of power and the benefit of a 6th gear, and it's just scary. Like, it's scary. Like when you're going down the freeway at like 65, 70 miles an hour with like big rigs and big trucks and cars and all that stuff, it is not fun. It's not fun. It's scary. Whereas this, I mean, it's still scary, but the weight of it helps it feel so much more planted. It's really nice, and it's fairly smooth. I mean, it gets buzzy in the upper RPMs for sure once you hit about 65 miles an hour, but it is it's really comfortable. It really makes this bike a true dual sport bike that you can that you can ride anywhere kind of comfortably and confidently. Because I've done a ride like this once before on the Beta, and while it was cool, and I'd do it again if I absolutely had to, but it's not something I would want to do like all the time. So the Beta gets trailered, this bike gets ridden out of my garage. All right, and the fifth thing that I love about the DRZ is the fact that it can carry a bunch of stuff. So I'm gonna pull over here in just a second, try to find a little spot where I can get off the bike and show you the back part of it. Some of you guys have already seen it. Some of you guys, this might be the very first time. Let's get up here first. There we go. Ooh, yeah, this is a nice spot. Oh yeah, this is cool. Since it is a true dual sport, and I say true just because it is a true 50-50 machine, you can kind of make it be whatever you want it to be. But the DRZ has a pretty beefy subframe, and that allows you to basically carry like a bunch of stuff on it. So if you wanted to do moto camping or just strap a bunch of stuff to it like I used to have. Prior to this setup, I had like a big like box from like Harbor Freight on the back. And so it just makes it really easy, like if you need to use it for commuting, or if you need to, like I said, just strap stuff to it for whatever reason. Like if you want to throw like a backpack or something on the back, or like I said, I used to keep my laptop and stuff in there. It really, really works nice because a lot of other bikes, like especially like the European dual sports, the more enduro type dual sports, you can't do that. So this is nice. It adds definitely a lot of weight, and like I said in a previous video, I'm going to be changing this setup, but it's still going to have the same type of functionality. And if I want to expand it or add for like moto camping and all that kind of stuff, I can. But yeah, so that's the fifth thing, is the ability to carry stuff is very, very nice, considering that it's such a great bike like in the dirt. So let's hop back on. I actually have a sixth thing that I just thought about right now, and it's actually related to me wanting to change the setup on the front and the rear and just kind of reconfigure how I have everything done on this bike. Oh man. Alright, hopefully I fixed my little strap. So the sixth thing, and this one's really important, because the DRZ's been around so long and they continue to make it still after all these years, the aftermarket support for this thing is phenomenal. So you could find just about anything that you need, non-OEM, and multiple different parts and like all kinds of stuff for this thing. So like Rocky Mountain, Tusk makes some really cool stuff for it. Just about every major aftermarket manufacturer makes stuff for the DRZ, and I think that's pretty cool. And not only that, but most of the stuff is relatively cheap. I guess this counts as like a number 7. It's a number 6, number 7 bonus, but it is very, very cheap to fix and maintain this thing as well, because it doesn't really need a lot of maintenance, number 1. But you know, parts availability is abundance, and most of the parts and stuff for this bike are relatively inexpensive. So to keep it running, it's very cheap to do so, and it just makes for a really, really good ownership experience. You know, despite the quirks with the bike itself. So like I said, if you want to see, you know, some of the issues that I do have with it, definitely check out my other video, which is the 5 things I hate about the DRZ400S. But overall, I mean, it's just a fantastic machine. When I got the Beta, I had considered selling it just because, you know, we were still kind of like in the finishing stages of paying off all our debt, and I was like, okay, well, you know, I could probably sell it. And I was like, man, no, it's such a great bike. Like if you're gonna have like an extra bike, like the DRZ is like the perfect extra bike to have, because it's just a workhorse. Like it's a really, really awesome machine. But anyways, guys, that is it. That's gonna do it for the 5 and 6 and 7 things that I love about the DRZ400S. If you guys have a DRZ or looking for a DRZ, and you have comments or anything that you want to say about the DRZ, let me know down below. We like to have fun discussions about bikes and riding and life and all kinds of stuff here on this channel. So if that's what you're into, definitely drop a comment. And if you're not subscribed already, subscribe to join us typically on a weekly basis. We like to ride around like this and just kind of ramble on and go on awesome adventures, and I'd love to have you guys along for the ride. But anyways, guys, until next time, please be sure to have fun, take care, and ride safe. Hey, we're back at the campground again, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, be sure to get out there and have adventures of your own, and I will see you guys next time. Later.
Thanks for watching the video. If you liked what you saw, please let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button. If you are new here, please subscribe to see more adventures just like this one. For information about my riding gear or the various ways you can help support the channel, please check out the links below or head over to www.eachadventure.com. I'll see you in the next one.